Hello, my friends. Welcome to this episode on health and wellness. It is regarding women's health and why it's not faring well with the trends we see on social media. So let's get started. Okay, you know what's yet another thing destroying the health of women over 40 years old? Well, we already know the complications we have with all these environmental toxins, all these different types of processed foods, everything going around the world right now, everything in this modern lifestyle we have going, at least in America and some places around the world. You know, women right now are pretty much confused, they're desperate, and they're trying to copy people they should never be copying in the first place. But what do I mean by that? Well, let me explain. So we have women in their 40s trying to copy women, for example, in their 20s, 28-year-old influencer, fitness instructor that has, their protocols and their products that they are affiliated with. And that's going to cause a lot of issues because these women, and I've seen it because I've worked with them, I work with a lot of them. In fact, the last place I was at, there was 70% of the personal trainers were women. We had a lot of women in their 20s, we had a lot of women in their 30s, and even in their late 40s. And every one of them has issues, moral issues. They're not getting away with it just because they're exercising every day or taking supplements every day. Because, exercise and nutrition are basically prerequisites of health and wellness. They're not the all, right? Health and wellness is more than that. And I'll explain a little bit more on my groundwork guide that I have. I will, sure enough, leave a link for that so that you can take that with you. And that'll explain a lot of what's going on. But like I said, they're women with different hormones, different stress loads. The recovery capacity is different than yours. If you're over 40 and you're trying to keep up with them, then your recovery capacity is going to be way different. And also your lifestyle. These influencers are selling aesthetics, people. Keep that in mind. They're not selling you true health as far as your unique biology. Now, what is the second thing here? Let's look at it. The second thing that's happening is, well, you have women in their 40s as well, like I said, that maybe they're your same age, but they are missing key elements on what works best for you. Now, why does this matter? Well, life is full of complex choices, people, right? That influencer is often genetically gifted, showing abs, aesthetics, and protocols she doesn't even follow herself, right? Most of the time they don't. They're just selling you a product that's giving them a big commission in return. So you're comparing your biology to someone in a completely different hormonal season of their life. And that's what you got to take under consideration, my friends. The second mistake, copying women that are perhaps your age, plus 40, who look healthy externally. Because obviously she's lean, she's fit, she's working out every day, she's keeping up with a protocol of her own, and therefore you're trying to do the same. They're trying to sell you that to make more money. Trust me, I've seen it. Like I said, I've worked with them. I recently was in a place where all these women had issues. All of them. And they couldn't even figure it out. Okay, again, exercise and nutrition are prerequisites, not the full solution. Okay, so most people were taught to outsource their health. Most of us are, in America for sure, right? So do everything our gynecologist tells us from the start, follow the protocols from trainers from the start, who know nothing about you. Okay, now there is some that do because they practice it and they have coaches themselves, and then they turn around and coach you, and they know it's important to know who you are and to teach you to learn yourself who you are, right? So, but unfortunately that's not the case. Okay, so they have you take supplements that pretty much you're paying out of pocket, top dollar, and they're going to sell you the ones with the biggest commissions. These mega influencers are not there just because out of the blue they came out. No, they're being sponsored and promoted by big advertising. So trust me, the reductionist system, whether it's medical monopoly or if it's biohacking, like the biohacking industry, okay, they never actually learned their own biology the right way. They have no clue, and yet they're over here teaching you to do something that who knows if it works for you, right? It's like, again, that famous saying, throwing a gum on the wall, see if it sticks. Sorry, folks, that the health doesn't work that way. So that's why I created the Bio1 Method app. Hopefully this helps people get away from all this confusion, because it's obviously so many trends, so many diet books, so many protocols, and yet no one's getting better because you're following something that's not going to be sustainable for your health. So again, underneath almost every woman, even the trainers, we got hormonal dysfunctions, we got thyroid issues, we got chronic inflammation, we got gut permeability, plaque buildup, nervous system dysregulation for sure, a lot of that, circadian disruption, and toxic overload. We hear this a lot, okay? But again, I'll say it again, fitness is not always health. Did you know? Hyper-obsessed fitness lifestyles actually age the body faster. Yes, it does. The healthiest people aren't always the most shredded. Just look at the long-living cultures, okay? Simple as that. And then there's a difference between training for longevity and training from obsession. One's going to kick in the stress overload, and the other is going to provide pretty much a happy, fulfilling life. So learn that difference. Here in this chart, we'll look at it. What it means to be aligned versus what it means to be reactive, a reactive thinker. So let's look at this. Alignment is based on logic, real world evidence, innate intelligence. Reactive thinking is feelings, impulses, bad influence, which we have a lot of that. Now the speed of the process here. If you're aligned, you're slower, thoughtful, coherent. Reactive thinking gets you faster, reactive, stressful all the time. And then an aligned person is influenced by their own biology, real world case studies, right? Reasoning and facts. A reactive thinker is pretty much based on emotions, social pressure, data, phony protocols, very easily manipulated. And of course, the outcome, if you're aligned, you're an aligned thinker, you're going to get a balanced, well-rounded health and wellness that leads to longevity. Active thinkers, on the other hand, are going to have short-term results, unsustainable, right? With long-term complications, big imbalance in their hormones. And that's where we're seeing a lot of. Too much, if you ask me. So why doesn't any of this trendy stuff work for you? Well, because you were trained to believe a product fixes you, a protocol saves you, a white coat knows your body better than you, which is completely the opposite, okay? So the disconnect from your biology is that you were taught reductionism, okay? This means you're compartmentalizing symptoms, you're generalizing everything in your human body, thinking that we're all built the same. In a way we are, but we are unique, and you're outsourcing your intuition. So it's time to exit that failing model, folks. Your body is not a trend. It's not a protocol. It's not a copy and paste system. It's time to think for yourself. That's why I always say, think for your bio one and only you, okay? The real healing journey starts by going within first, okay? Learning your rhythms, learning your stress patterns, learning your environment that you live in, okay? Your terrain and the season in your life, your own season. So then you could choose there a well-integrated holistic health practice. You know, you could choose a mentor from there. It could be a Chinese medicine practitioner. It could be a bioenergetic practitioner. It could be a functional medicine practitioner, Ayurveda practitioner. It could be, there's so many great integrative holistic health practitioners out there. Amazing. You know, spirituality is involved in it. You know, your generational help. You get ancestral help. You get everything from how to live within your latitude. So many ways to get better. And there's help out there. And the good news is that I have vetted practitioners that I've worked with, or I've actually interviewed myself in my podcast or outside of it. Okay, so that's where thriving begins, getting to know yourself first. So here are the takeaways. 40 plus women are being lied to, basically. Most wellness advice falls short because it fails women to understand their unique biology first, right? And then you're copying women that basically are not the same system as yours, and they have no clue how your own biology works, your unique physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual constitution. They have no idea. And then fit doesn't mean healthy all the way. Again, I'll say it again. Fitness and nutrition are prerequisites of health and wellness. There's so much more involved, folks. Okay? The wellness industry in America has broken women 40 plus easily by following bad trends, just like the medical monopoly. We're falling into that reductionist system where, one pill, one protocol will save your life or make you fit, get you a six-pack, get you rid of perimenopause, all that stuff. No, it's a complex system that we have. Yes, we could simplify things, but we got to listen to our own biology. We got to understand our own biology, and it starts with the Bio1 and only you, folks. Okay? So here is your exit ticket. Start rebuilding your health through the Bio1 Method. You can check out the Bio1 Method app or do it yourself. It doesn't matter. Dive deep in the research yourself and find out how to get to know your own biology. Okay, but if you are confused and you want to make it easier for yourself, then I do have micro lessons that help you rebuild your mindset, the small increments that set the stage for you to choose basically the right health programs in not just movement, not just nutrition, but also mental, emotional, and spiritual health that'll finally fix your terrain, okay? And it'll be for the long haul. That's longevity. So this is your exit ticket, folks. Start rebuilding your health. You could do it through the Bio1 Method app that I have. You could do it through a one-on-one program that I have. You could do it through groups. You could do it through outside, practitioners that I could definitely recommend. But start there, Go into my link there. There's micro lessons that help you rebuild your mindset with small increments that set the stage for you to choose the right health programs that finally fix your terrain for the long haul. And that, my friends, that is longevity, okay? So comment Bio1 and I'll send you the breakdown on how to stop outsourcing and start going within, from the groundwork to the grassroots and to your alignment. That's what I teach inside the Bio1 Method. Go there, learn what you can, build a team around that, become the CEO of your own health. And that's what we're thriving at. I'm here to educate you so that you could become your own CEO of your health and wellness. And from there, you could build a team around that, a team of practitioners, coaches, mentors. That's how you do it. That's how I do it. Okay? Peace.